What is up, everybody? Craig Severinson here, and I wanted to jump on here on LinkedIn and talk about two ways that you can stop clients from micromanaging you and 4x your rates at the same time. So, like, this is one of those things that it just drives us crazy, right? Where it's like needy clients, overbearing clients, the scope is creeping, and they're not paying enough. Like, these are the things that make it so that your business really struggles to grow. Like, this is the stuff that is like you're working in your business, and it feels like you're not getting any traction. So we're going to solve these problems so that you work with better clients, higher paying clients, and you can get traction in your business and move from 6 figures to 7 figures. So I actually have a document that I'm going to share with you on my screen here, and I'm really excited to do this because I just like having a document to look at. So while we go through this, I want to invite you. Feel free to leave comments here. And if you're commenting live, we're using StreamYard. So you need to click the button to give permission so that I can see your name. If not, that's okay. You'll be anonymous. But join the conversation. Let's talk about this. I'm going to introduce some really great concepts so that you can get better clients, have a better relationship with your clients. They can view you as a partner. And at the same time, I'm going to give you some tips on how to raise your rates while you're doing that. And I want to go deeper with this. So if you're interested in this, if this is hitting home with you, let me know what you're taking away from this conversation, and also ask questions so we can go deeper and I can provide even more value for you. So if you look at the screen, what we got here right now, this is the whole point. This is what I want to do. I want to take you from having clients that have scope creep issues, they're micromanaging you, they're needy, they're cheap, all that stuff that just makes us sick. And I want to move you to having high paying clients, clients that trust you to execute, clients that feel like partners, clients that respect your boundaries. Bottom line here, let's really accelerate your business. Let's grow it from 6 to 7 figures, and let's do it by working with better clients and charging more money, right? Like, that's really the key here. So let's jump up to the top of this page, and I've got this split into kind of 2 sections. One, how to stop your clients from micromanaging you, and then number 2, how to increase your rates at the same time. Now, these 2 things are interconnected. You cannot have one without the other. And in fact, even more, if we take that a step further, the micromanaging portion, if you don't implement that, you're going to have a hard time raising your rates. And a lot of the micromanaging stuff will just automatically help you raise your rates. So it's all like really, really interconnected, but we've got it split into 2 kind of steps here, or 2 categories, just to make it easier to understand and easier to implement. Okay. So as we're going, again, leave comments. And if you want more information about this, feel free to DM me or to reach out. Would love to have a deeper conversation with you about this. Okay. So how do you get them to stop micromanaging you? The big idea here is to start positioning your service around the ROI in order to manage your relationship. So instead of talking about what you do, I want you to make the switch to talking about why you do it, right? This is the difference between somebody, whatever service you're providing. Let's use social media as the example, but apply this to whatever you do. If you, make funnels or PR or some sort of other marketing tactic, whatever it is, translate this to your situation. But it's like, if you're providing social media, what's the difference between somebody who does social media and somebody that helps you get clients through social media? The difference is probably minimal in terms of what they're going to do, but it's a huge difference between how much somebody's willing to pay you for that service. For those that are just doing some social media, they make it all about the what they do. That's an hourly rate. That's low cost. That is something that you're always going to have those awful clients. Making the switch to ROI, making the switch to being goal-oriented, helping people accomplish something through social media, that is something that we can really charge behind and set boundaries behind. That's the big picture here. So let me give you 3 framing tools you can use in order to get to that point where you're stepping into ROI focused and why focused instead of the what focused, right? What you do. Okay. So the first one is to approach your clients, especially prospects, as a partner, right? So rather than come and be like, okay, here's my menu of things to choose from. What do you want to do? You come to the conversation as a partner. So what does a partner do? A partner says, what's the goal? What are we working on? Here is a plan for how you can get there. And this will change your relationship with your prospects and then in turn with your clients, because they are no longer viewing you as a vendor, at which, by the way, that's how we get like almost an employee employer relationship with your clients, is when they view you as a vendor or an hourly rate. They feel like they can throw more stuff on you. They feel like they can, tell you what to do because of the expectation of the relationship. But when you approach it as a strategic partner, they're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to be asking you, what do we do? Because you are the expert, right? You're approaching this level of relationship where you're a partner, you're not a vendor, right? So how do we do that? By focusing on the goals that they want to accomplish and helping them see the pathway to getting those goals. So that is framing tool number one. Frame yourself, position yourself as a partner, not as a vendor. Okay, framing tool number two is you need to have some sort of proprietary method. Okay, I'm going to highlight this right here. I call this your result success system, or your RSS. And the idea here is that if you just have a menu, a smorgasbord of things for them to choose from, then again, that's not being a partner, that's being a vendor, right? So instead, what you want to do is really focus in on your niche. Who are they? What do they want to accomplish? And how do you help them get there? And then you simply put together the package for the fastest, most effective pathway to get what they want. And then own that. Put a name to it. Put a proprietary process around it. This is how you start getting really like clients. You start building systems. You start really getting momentum in terms of results. And this is how you also get clients that aren't going to scope creep you, because you've got a process, right? Why would they add more stuff to what you're doing when you're coming prepared and saying, this is the pathway we provide? We don't do more, we don't do less. This is what we do. And why do we do that? Because it helps you to reach your goal, right? So again, we're focusing on that goal and we're creating a proprietary process. Side note, with a proprietary process, yeah, it stops scope creep, but it also stops comparison. Have you ever had to defend yourself, like someone saying, why should I work with you and not them? Or like, what sets you apart? Well, when you have a proprietary process, guess what? They can't compare you to anybody else. It's like, why would you work with me? Because we're the best. We're the best at what we do. This is our process. This is how we work. And if you don't like that or you don't want that, well, I mean, I guess that's, go somewhere else. That's okay, right? It takes away that comparison too. So it makes your sales a lot easier. Okay, so that was number two, is have a proprietary method, an RSS, result success system. And then finally, number three here is focus and track the numbers, right? Focus on and track the numbers. Here's the thing. If you're going to be a partner, you're going to have a proprietary method, then you need to step up and actually start tracking those numbers. Every conversation points back to, this is the goal. This is what we're working on. And here's where we're at in that process. This is a difficult step for a lot of you, especially if you're not tracking any numbers right now, but you've got to build this into your service. And there's a couple things, a couple reasons why. Number one, when you start tracking something and measuring something, even if you don't do anything else but track or measure it, that number usually improves. So just by tracking it, just by measuring it, you're probably setting yourself up for more success. But number two is it helps you to evaluate what's going on and justify why you're doing what you're doing, so that there's never a question of like, should I pay my bill this month? You never want them to get the bill or to see the charge on their credit card and question, should we be doing this, right? We always want there to be really, really clear ROI. And by tracking the numbers, that gives you the data to be able to say, this is why you're investing in what you're investing. And this helps you with retention as well. And good or bad, here's the thing, is if you're kind of scared of this, and you're like, I've never tracked numbers before. What if I don't reach the numbers? What if it's not good? Good or bad, tracking the numbers is really, really useful for retention, because if it's good, then the conversation goes like this. For when we're re-enrolling somebody, it'll go, hey, this was our goal. This is what we did. Here's the results. It went really well. Let's keep going. Here's the plan moving forward. And we're just more of the same. And they're going to be like, yeah, awesome. Let's do it. If it went poorly, it didn't go well, what's the conversation look like? Here's the goal. Here's what we did. Here's the results. Now, we didn't get what we wanted, but here's our plan to adjust that and what we think we need to change in order to get those goals. Do you want to keep going? it makes it so much less about like you and some sort of like personal, do I like you? Do I not like you? Right. And makes it more about, this is the plan. Do I believe in the plan? Do I believe in the, we've got the numbers in front of us. It makes retention so much easier and makes it far less personal. And you've got to, like, if you ever want to step into this where you're able to sell your business, or you're able to like install someone else to run it for you, and you kind of take a board member approach, if you want to get to that level, you've got to start separating yourself from the business, right? You got to start separating yourself so that it runs on its own. And this is one of those steps that makes it far less about you as the founder and more about the system, more about the process, more about the goal, which is really compelling to them. Also really good for you in terms of growth and scale, right? Okay, so that's how I want you to frame yourself so that you can get those clients to stop micromanaging you. If you do those things, your clients will be, even like needy clients now, if you can make this switch with them, they can become really good clients because we're setting expectations, we're setting the boundaries, we're setting the frame. This is how we're showing up. And guess what? It will change your relationship with your clients. It is fantastic. Let's talk about how you find that ROI. Like if you're not doing this, you're like, I do my thing and I'm not sure what to connect it to. Here is what I really suggest to you. Market research, okay? You got to do market research. And there's two things that I do with my clients that I strongly suggest you do. In fact, if you want to do it with me, like reach out, let's talk about it, because these things are going to change everything about your business for the better. It's going to make you reach your goals so much faster. So number one is doing what I call a focused few analysis. So we talk about niching down, and it's this thing where we're just like, okay, here's my niche, I'm going for it. But really, we want to focus in on the best of the best of your clients. You may have even heard the advice, fire your worst clients, focus on your best clients. Great advice. There's a problem with it. It's too nebulous. We don't know exactly how to implement that. Let me give you an example. You got two clients, right? Client number one pays you really well, but they're a pain in your butt. You hate working with them, right? And client number two, you love them. They're the best. You love getting on the phone with them, but guess what? They don't pay you very well. So if I were to say, who's your top client? Who's your bottom client? Who is it? There's an argument that either one of those clients could be your best client. Is the criteria how much we like them? Is the criteria how much money we make? Is the criteria how much potential there is? Like, since the criteria isn't clear, knowing who is a good client and who's a bad client, very, very difficult to come up with that, right? So a focus view analysis, what that does is it actually takes all of your clients and you set very clear criteria. This is what makes a good client. This is what we're looking for in a client. And then we rank your clients according to that criteria. And guess what? Now we have scores. We know exactly who is a good client, who's a bad client, and it helps you define the niche within the niche. If you've ever heard the phrase, riches are in the niches, this is where that actually comes true. The niche within the niche. You start saying, oh my goodness, here's the subset of the people I've worked with that I like working with the most. And that information alone will start your brain moving, the juice is going about what you should offer, what ROI you should offer, and helps you really focus your offer, helps you really focus your business, really, right? So that's step number one, is to do that focus view analysis. Once you have that, step number two then is to do the second thing here, and that is to do what I call real-time market research. And this is a two-prong approach. The first prong is once a year, you get them on the phone, those top clients that we just identified, and we ask them, what are you working on? What are your goals? What are your obstacles? What's going on? What do you like about my services? What do you dislike? And we get all of this information straight from the horse's mouth to help you then take a step back and do these other things that we were just talking about, right? What do they want to partner with you on? Now we know. What methods do they like? Now we know, right? What numbers do they want to track? What ROI do they care about? Now we know because we ask them. So that's number one. The second prong to real-time market research is to leverage your marketing, in particular social media, to ask questions and listen to your audience so that you always know what conversation they're having so that your marketing is more effective, your offer is more effective, so that your business is really humming in terms of connecting with your ideal clients and ideal audience, right? So that is the two types of market research that you got to do in order to just bam, accelerate your business and really go from 6 to 7 figures. Okay, so that's the first part of what I wanted to talk about. Do those 3 things, and you're going to stop your clients from micromanaging you, right? And here's the thing: is that those above things that we just talked about, being a partner, having a method, a proprietary method, result success system, and focusing and tracking the numbers, those are prerequisites for quadrupling your rates, for raising your rates, charging enough. And this is super important. And I want to, point this out right here. Your margins are not going to get better. If you're pre-6 or at 6 figures, this is the moment where your margins should be the biggest, the juiciest, the best. Because as you grow and get closer and closer to 7 figures, multi 7 figures, your margins don't improve. They get worse. You get more overhead. So right now, where you're at, you need to make sure your margins are like 75, 80%, so that as your business grows, you've got the resources to reinvest into your business. We're talking systems, we're talking team, we're talking making sure your business runs without you being the bottleneck, so that you own a business and not a job, right? Like, this is what it all comes down to, right? So you got to make sure those margins are big. And the number one thing that most people are doing is that they are undercharging. So we need to raise your rates, even 4x them. I don't know what you're charging right now, so I can't promise you, hey, we're going to 4x your rates, but I can promise you that you're probably undercharging. And if we do these next things, you're going to be able to raise your rates, okay? So number one, to raise your rates, what do you want to do? You want to use value-based pricing. This is what it all comes down to, value-based pricing. So here's the mindset you've got to really latch onto, is you want to charge based on value, not based on time. What does that do for you? When you charge based on time, there's a cap, and the cap is normally whatever the hourly rate of your client is. If they make $30 an hour, you better bet they're not going to pay you more than $30 an hour, because that's their cap, right? They're not going to pay you more than they're making themselves. So we got to change that conversation completely and talk about what is the value, what is the shift, what is it that they experience, and what are they willing to pay to get that shift or that value, right? So let's say that you help them, let's put it in really simple math terms. Yours might be a little bit more complicated than this, but let's say you help them make $100,000. Would they pay $10,000 to make $100,000? Probably that's 10%. They probably would. Would they pay $20,000 to make $100,000? That's still pretty reasonable, right? Would they pay $30,000 to make $100,000? I mean, the ROI is still there, but it's getting a little bit, the higher we get there, it gets a little bit more and more difficult. There's more friction to sell that, right? But like, when you switch to what is the value they experience and what are they willing to pay to get there, you can really up your rates without complicating the sales process, like without making it difficult to sell. You can actually probably charge more and more easily land more clients when you make the shift in how you're presenting your offer, right? Value-based pricing. What's the value they experience? What's the goal they're working towards? And now you can see we're talking goal, right? So you can see how well it relates to what we were just talking about. Making that switch is going to really help you make this switch to value-based pricing. Okay, the second thing you want to do to raise your rates is to create what I call an irresistible 7-figure offer. Again, this is something I do with my clients. My service is a hybrid of coaching, training, and consulting. So I do a lot of this work. Like, I actually help my clients get leads. Like, there's some done for you services. I actually help them create their irresistible offer, all that stuff. Again, if you want to talk about that with me and see what your business is doing, would love to have that conversation. Shoot me a DM or leave me a comment. But you need to create this irresistible offer either way. And what makes an offer irresistible are 2 things. There's 2 reasons why a person doesn't purchase: either obstacles or risk. And so an irresistible offer reduces or eliminates both of those elements. So, we talk about in a sales conversation, getting on a sales call and like overcoming objections, right? Well, let's flip that on its head and say, well, what if your offer was how the objections were overcome? What if before you even got on a sales call, you already knew what all the objections were and you built those into your package, into your offer, so that whenever they're like, hey, XYZ is why I can't do this, you're like, oh, well, actually, that is exactly why you would buy the package. Like, that's exactly why you become a client. Holy cow, mind blown. Your offer is doing the heavy lifting for you in terms of overcoming objections. Now they feel silly saying no to you because the offer is exactly what they want and it solves all the objections to help them get there. I'm not saying that you won't need sales skills. Sales skills are important. What I'm saying is that when you have a really good offer, you can be a worse salesperson than you are right now and make more sales, right? Like, it makes it so much easier. All this stuff is connected. Great offer, great marketing, great sales, all work in synergy to make it easier to bring clients on board. Okay, so number one, it needs to overcome objections. You need to build that into your offer. And you do that by making it really clear what the ROI is, what the goals are, right? So that's number one. Number two element to an irresistible offer is risk mitigation. Risk mitigation. So risk is the other thing that people, stops people from purchasing. A good way to overcome risk is through a guarantee or through your pricing structure. So a guarantee, could be if they don't make X amount of money or they don't get X result, or could be a satisfaction guarantee. What you have to do is say, what is the risk they're taking? And your guarantee needs to counteract that risk. And another, hand in hand here could be how you price it. What is the risk that they're taking on? And how could your pricing structure counteract that risk? And that you do these things, and then your offer is built so that there's no obstacle that can stop them from saying yes, and there's no risk to saying yes. And so they're like, yeah, bam, let's do it, right? Let's take this on. And that is how you build an irresistible offer. Man, I have talked for like 20 minutes. I hope this was helpful for you. Leave me in the comments what your biggest takeaway is. I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this at all, you got value from it, that's the price of participation, right? Give me a comment. But let's review really quickly. So to stop that micromanaging, what do you got to do? Be a partner, have a clear proprietary method, focus on and track the numbers. And what's going to help you do that? The focus view analysis, the real-time market research, right? And then how do you 4x your rates? How do you raise your rates at the same time? Use that value-based pricing, create your irresistible 7-figure offer. You do those things, and all this will go away. No more scope creep, no more micromanaging, no more needy clients, no more cheap clients, right? We're going to change the frame, change the script so that all your clients coming in, they're going to be high paying, they're going to be high trust, they're going to treat you like a partner, they're going to really respect you. You're going to be able to scale your business from pre-6 or 6 figures to 7 figures by working with better clients for more money. Bam, mic drop. This is a Disney pen. Otherwise, I would have dropped it. This is a souvenir from my time when I worked for Disney. Here's a cheap pen. Mic drop. Guys, I enjoyed doing this. I loved doing this. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, take some fast focus and perfect action. I believe in you. I got your back. We'll talk soon. See ya.